Imagine waking up in the sun-drenched paradise of California, only to realize your dream home costs $1 million, wildfires are knocking at your door, and your paycheck vanishes into sky-high taxes and rent. Sound familiar? You're not alone. In the last few years, hundreds of thousands of Americans have packed up their lives on the West Coast and headed east, trading Pacific views for Atlantic shores, Southern charm, and a shot at affordability. But why? Is it just the cost of living, or something deeper? According to the latest migration data from 2024, something unprecedented is happening in America. California is winning the exchange game in just 3 states. It's getting more residents from Alaska, North Dakota, and Rhode Island than it's sending to these states. In every other state, California is sending more new residents than it's receiving in return. Los Angeles to New York was the most searched for Move Buddha relocation route in 2024, according to the company, while San Francisco to New York came in at 4th place. This isn't just a southern migration anymore. Americans are rediscovering the East Coast in ways we haven't seen since the 1800s. The scale is staggering. California has lost more residents to other states than any state in the country. Most have gone to places like Texas and Arizona, but increasingly, they're heading to places like North Carolina, which gained the most of over 3,500 new residents, while California is losing the most of nearly 10,500, according to recent population data. Remember when Elon Musk announced Tesla was moving from California to Texas? That was just the beginning. Since 2019, more than 200 businesses have left California, the most than any American state. Examples include Charles Schwab, Oracle, Palantir, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and Chevron. But now, something fascinating is happening. While Texas has received many of the new headquarters, East Coast cities are becoming increasingly attractive to both businesses and individuals. Companies are discovering that cities like Atlanta and Miami offer the same business-friendly environments as Texas, but with better access to international markets, established infrastructure, and, surprisingly, often lower overall operating costs. The cost of living on the West Coast has reached astronomical levels that would make your wallet weep. According to 2025 data, California ranks as the 3rd most expensive state in the nation, with a cost of living index of 144.8, while Massachusetts leads at 145.1, and Hawaii tops the charts at 186.9. But here is where it gets interesting. While Massachusetts is expensive, states like South Carolina clock in at just 95.9 and Texas at 92.7. That means for every dollar you spend in California, you spend about 65 cents in South Carolina for the same quality of life. The housing market tells an even more dramatic story. In San Jose, California, the average home price has soared to nearly $2 million. San Francisco isn't far behind at $1.37 million, where half of all homes cost more than $1.3 million. Meanwhile, in Charlotte, North Carolina, one of the hottest destinations for West Coast refugees, the median home price sits around $400,000. That's the difference between a lifetime of mortgage payments and actual home ownership. The tax situation adds another layer to this financial puzzle. While California imposes some of the highest state income taxes in the nation, reaching up to 13.3% for high earners, states like Florida, Texas, and Tennessee have no state income tax at all. For a tech worker making $200,000 annually, moving from California to Florida could save them over $26,000 per year in state taxes alone. That's a new car, a down payment on a house, or a child's college tuition fund every single year. Everyday expenses pile on. California's gas prices top $5 a gallon, and utilities in Oregon have jumped due to energy policies. Contrast that with Florida, where lower energy costs and no income tax save families thousands annually. Beyond dollars, the West Coast's social fabric is fraying. Homelessness, crime, and political polarization have made many feel unsafe and exhausted. In San Francisco, tent cities line streets, with over 8,000 homeless individuals contributing to rising theft and drug issues. Portland's protests and homelessness crisis peaked during the pandemic, leading to a 20% crime uptick. A 2025 migration study shows 15% of West Coast leavers cite quality of life as key, with southeastern cities like Charleston boasting lower crime rates and stronger community ties. The pandemic didn't just change how we work, it fundamentally altered where we can work. When companies like Facebook, Twitter, and Google announced permanent remote work policies, they inadvertently triggered one of the largest internal migrations in American history. Suddenly, a software engineer could keep their Silicon Valley salary while living in Raleigh, North Carolina, where their dollars stretched 3 times further. According to recent surveys, 20% of remote workers plan to relocate in 2025, with 43% citing change of scene as their primary motivation, and 37% pointing to cost of living concerns. Texas leads as the top destination, attracting 12.3% of relocating remote workers, while California, despite its appeal, is also losing 9.5% of its remote workforce to other states. Let's address the elephant in the room: weather. Yes, East Coast winters can be harsh, but climate change is making this less of a factor every year. Meanwhile, West Coast summers are becoming increasingly unbearable due to heat waves and wildfire smoke. Many transplants report that they prefer dealing with snow for 3 months rather than smoke-filled skies and 100+ degree temperatures. The traditional narrative suggested that serious career opportunities required West Coast proximity. This assumption is rapidly crumbling. Financial services remain concentrated in New York, but cities like Charlotte are becoming major banking centers. Atlanta has emerged as a logistics and transportation hub, while Miami is positioning itself as the gateway to Latin American markets. The rise of distributed teams means that career advancement no longer requires Silicon Valley proximity. In fact, many professionals discover that East Coast locations offer better networking opportunities precisely because they're not overcrowded with talent. This migration trend shows no signs of slowing. Demographic projections suggest that the South and East will continue gaining population through 2050, while the West Coast growth stagnates. The reasons driving current migration are cost, safety, opportunity, and quality of life, which are structural rather than temporary. Climate change adds another dimension to this equation. While the West Coast faces increasing wildfire risks, water shortages, and extreme weather events, many East Coast locations offer greater long-term climate stability. The irony is striking. Regions once considered climate havens are becoming climate risks. What we're witnessing isn't just migration. It's a redefinition of the American dream. The 20th century dream involved heading west for opportunity and reinvention. The 21st century dream increasingly involves heading east or south for stability, affordability, and community. This shift reflects changing priorities. Millennials and Gen Z value work-life balance over work-life integration. They prefer home ownership over apartment flexibility. They choose community connection over urban anonymity. The East Coast increasingly offers these values at prices that make them achievable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.